Have you ever been in that moment? You know the one. You've got this brilliant idea, it's perfectly clear in your mind, maybe even in English. But then you open your mouth and the right words just, poof, they vanish.
Right.
You understand the grammar, you know the structure of what you want to say, but the vocabulary, it feels like it's playing hide and seek,
Yeah.
relentlessly.
Oh, absolutely. It's an incredibly common feeling and honestly profoundly frustrating. That sense of not being able to express yourself quite right or even, fully grasp what you're reading or hearing. It almost always boils down to not having the specific words you need at that moment.
Exactly. And that fundamental challenge, that's precisely what we're digging into today. We're embarking on a deep dive looking at practical, actually pretty effective strategies for really improving your English vocabulary. And this whole session, it's built on a really valuable framework from a fantastic source we found, designed to give you that actionable edge.
Yeah, our mission today really is to offer you a kind of shortcut. Not, a shortcut to memorizing endless lists, because that doesn't work, but a shortcut to truly mastering new words, helping you communicate with greater clarity, more precision, and yeah, more confidence in English. We want to help unlock those words for you.
So why does vocabulary hold such, well, such immense power? What's the actual impact if you can't quite find that word you're searching for?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Vocabulary isn't just part of communication. You could argue it is the very foundation. Without the words, your thoughts just stay abstract, kind of locked away inside. You simply can't express them clearly or persuasively, and you can't truly understand what others are trying to convey either. Words are essentially the building blocks, the core units of meaning.
Right. It's like that analogy from the source, the one about building a house. You might have the most detailed blueprints, that's your grammar, the perfect structural plan, but without the bricks, without the actual words, well, your sentence, your linguistic house, it just won't stand up. It crumbles.
Precisely. And that brings up a really crucial point. It's not necessarily about knowing, say, 10,000 obscure, difficult words you'll maybe use once a year. The real power often lies in knowing even common, simple words really well and knowing how to use them confidently, appropriately, in different situations. That can make a huge difference in just everyday conversations and understanding.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. If vocabulary is our linguistic house, where do most of us, go wrong when we start building? What are the common structural flaws we accidentally create? Because I think many language learners, and I've definitely been there myself, often fall into these common traps. Identifying them, I think, is the first big step to actually avoiding them.
Absolutely. The first major pitfall, and honestly, we see this all the time, is memorizing long word lists. Trying to cram, let's say, 50 new words into your head every day. It's just incredibly ineffective. Most of them are forgotten almost immediately. Our brains, while they aren't really wired to retain isolated bits of information like that, they thrive on connections, on context. It's like trying to remember individual grains of sand versus remembering the whole beach picture. The focus should always be on fewer words, maybe, but words that are deeply practiced within meaningful context. That's what builds those strong neural pathways.
That makes so much sense. I totally remember doing that in school, just wrote memorization flashcards everywhere. But okay, for someone who's really determined, thinking, I can learn 50 words a day, what's the real long-term cost? Beyond just forgetting them, does it actually hold back real fluency?
Oh, it absolutely can. The cost isn't just the wasted time, though that's significant. It can be really demotivating. When you put in all that effort for such little return, such little retention, it can lead to this feeling of failure, right? Which makes you less likely to try other more effective methods later on. It also kind of trains your brain that language learning is about these isolated facts when it's really about relationships, connections, meaning.
That's a powerful point. The demotivation factor is huge.
Oh.
Okay, what's another common mistake that often trips learners up?
Another big one is learning words without context. Take a word like bark, for example. If you only learn one meaning, maybe the sound a dog makes, you'll be completely thrown off, totally confused when you later see bark referring to, the outer layer of a tree. Without that context, a word is just a sound or maybe squiggles on a page. It lacks the vital framework for real understanding, and it's a recipe for miscommunication. You're missing the word's whole story, essentially.
That's a perfect illustration of why our brains crave meaning, not just isolated data points. And this next one. This is a pitfall I've definitely struggled with personally, and I bet many listeners have too.
Let me guess. Not reviewing regularly?
You got it.
Yeah, it's so common. Learning a word just once. It simply won't stick for long. Think of memory like a path through a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and easier it becomes to follow. If you only walk it once, well, the path gets overgrown pretty quickly. You absolutely have to revisit and reuse words consistently for them to move from short-term recall into your long-term memory. It's basically telling your brain, hey, pay attention, this information is important, keep it handy.
It's like planting a seed and then just walking away, never watering it. Of course, it won't grow.
Yeah.
What else do learners often get wrong? Maybe something that seems like a good idea at first glance?
Well, sometimes they make the mistake of focusing only on rare or difficult words, words like meticulous or ubiquitous. They're good words to know eventually, but having a strong, flexible foundation of the basics, common words like easy, happy, food, go, think, that's absolutely key for daily communication. For fluency, you get so much more mileage, so much more confidence from mastering that common vocabulary first. Then you expand from there. You need to build the house from the ground up, right? Not start with the fancy roof tiles.
Good point. Build that solid foundation first. And finally, there's a big one that deals more with our internal psychology, our inner critic, and it can often just paralyze progress completely.
Yes, exactly. It's being afraid to use new words. You might worry about making mistakes, maybe sounding silly or getting it wrong. But here's the crucial insight, the thing you really need to internalize. Making mistakes isn't just part of learning a language, it's actually how we learn effectively. Every attempt you make, even if it's a bit flawed, gives your brain valuable feedback. It helps refine your understanding, it pushes you towards growth. You simply have to try. You have to speak, experiment, and yeah, sometimes mess up.
Okay, so we've identified the common traps, the things to really steer clear of.
Yeah.
That's super helpful. But knowing what not to do is, well, it's only half the equation, right?
Mhm.
How do we actually build that vocabulary effectively? And maybe even, dare I say, make it enjoyable? Let's dive into the strategies that genuinely work, the smart ways that actually align with how our brains are wired to learn. I think there's some real aha moments coming up for you here.
Right. The first smart way, and this directly tackles that context pitfall we talked about, is to learn words in context. So instead of just memorizing the word delicious on its own, use it, learn it in a full sentence, like, this dosa is delicious.
Yeah.
Sentences provide such a richer frame of reference. Your brain connects the word not just to a definition, but to a situation, maybe an emotion, a sensory experience. It creates more neural hooks, more pathways, making the word stick much faster and more firmly.
That feels so much more intuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What about engaging our other senses beyond just reading the words on a page?
Exactly. The next tip is all about that. Use images or emotions. When you learn a word like happy, don't just read the definition. That's too abstract. Instead, actively picture something that truly makes you smile, something that evokes that feeling of happiness deep down. Our brains have incredibly powerful visual and emotional memory systems. They're far stronger than our rote memory for just abstract words. Doing this creates a kind of multisensory anchor for the word, making it much easier to recall.
That visual link is definitely powerful. But, what about for someone who finds it harder to visualize? Especially with abstract words like maybe justice or freedom. Are there other sensory anchors they could use? And okay, once we've made that initial connection, that visual or emotional link, what's the very next step to solidify it?
That's a great question. For abstract words, yeah, visualization can be trickier. You could try anchoring them to specific situations or scenarios where they apply. Or maybe even create a symbolic image. For justice, you could picture a balanced scale. For freedom, maybe an open door or a bird flying. Find what works for your brain. And the very next step, once you've learned it, made that connection, use the word immediately, say it out loud, write it down in your own sentence, even just talk to yourself using it. This act of active production, actually doing something with the word, signals to your brain this one's important, and it strongly reinforces the memory trace.
I find that self-talk surprisingly effective. It feels a bit odd at first, but it works. Now, what about organizing our learning so it feels less like this overwhelming flood of random words?
Ah, yes. Organization is key. The tip here is to group words by topic. Instead of just learning random words from a list, decide, okay, this week I'm focusing on food-related vocabulary. So you learn words like spicy, boil, menu, taste, ingredients, flavor, all together. Then maybe next week you switch to travel words or words for work. This thematic grouping really helps with recall because your brain naturally likes to categorize information. It creates these mental folders that make retrieval much easier later on.
That sounds far more manageable, definitely less chaotic. And when it comes to making these words stick for the long haul, for long-term retention, there's sort of a golden rule, isn't there? A scientifically backed method.
Absolutely. The most effective principle here is to repeat regularly, and the smart way to do that is using spaced repetition. Think of it like cleverly nudging your memory just at the point when it's about to start fading. So you review a new word, maybe the next day, then again in a few days, then maybe a week later, and so on. The intervals get longer. By doing this, you're essentially telling your brain over and over, hey, remember this, it's important, don't delete it. Huh. This strategic timing strengthens the memory each time you review it, pushing it deeper into your long-term storage far more efficiently than just cramming or endless rote review. It works with your brain's natural forgetting curve, not fighting against it.
That really is an aha moment, working with how our brains forget instead of against it.
Good job.
Genius. Okay, and finally, there's something that can really leverage your learning, help you expand your vocabulary quite quickly from just a single starting point.
Right, that's learning word families. This is super efficient. You take one root word, like say, teach. Oop. From that one word, you can then easily understand and learn related words like teacher, teaching, taught, maybe even reteach or unteachable. See how one word can unlock a whole cluster of related forms and concepts. It expands your vocabulary exponentially, and it also helps you see the beautiful interconnectedness of the language.
Okay, fantastic. So you've armed yourself with these brilliant new words. You're learning them in these smarter, brain-friendly ways. But what does this actually mean for, real life, day-to-day communication? Because just collecting words, just acquiring them, that's really only half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Truly integrating them, actually using that vocabulary, that seems absolutely key for developing real fluency.
That's exactly right. Learning is step one. Step two, which is just as crucial, is actively integrating these words into your daily life. You absolutely need to speak them. Right. Talk to yourself if you need to, or talk with a friend, find a language partner. Intentionally try to weave your new vocabulary into real conversations. This is where the learning really solidifies. It's where, the rubber meets the road.
And what if you're maybe a bit shy, or perhaps finding a fluent English speaker to chat with isn't always easy or practical?
Good point. If speaking isn't immediately accessible, then write them. Keep a small diary or journal in English. Or, here's an idea, challenge yourself to use your new words in a social media post or comment. The act of writing forces you to actively recall the word and think about how to structure it in a sentence. This reinforces the memory, and it gives you a safe space to practice sentence formation. Even just writing simple notes to yourself counts.
I love the social media idea, built-in accountability. Okay, and then there's my personal favorite strategy, one that's often overlooked, but so powerful.
Ah, you mean thinking in English?
Is that
Yes. This is huge. Train your brain to actually process thoughts, even simple everyday thoughts, directly in English. So, for example, you see a flower on your walk. Instead of thinking in your native language first, consciously make the effort to think, oh, this flower is beautiful, or that's an interesting color. This creates a constant internal monologue, an inner dialogue that helps solidify your vocabulary. It also trains your brain to just operate in the language more naturally, making retrieval much faster when you actually need to speak. It sounds funny, but sometimes I catch myself mentally narrating my grocery shopping list in English. Okay, need to procure some milk. Check the expiration date. It definitely makes mundane tasks a bit more interesting.
I do that too. Okay, to really bring this all together, make it concrete, we've got a fantastic real-life example from the source material. It's a short mini role play, just a simple conversation, but it shows how a learner can naturally integrate new vocabulary. Maybe you can walk us through that dialogue, highlighting the words being used.
Absolutely. Let's imagine a very normal, quick chat between two friends just catching up about their weekend. Friend 1, how was your weekend? Friend 2, it was great, actually. I had a very productive Saturday. Friend 1, oh nice. Friend 2, yeah, I cleaned my whole room, finally finished that homework assignment, and even read a chunk of my book. But then, oh man, on Sunday I was totally exhausted. Friend 1, haha, I know the feeling. We all need some rest. Did you manage to eat out at all? Friend 2, yes. I had some absolutely delicious, really spicy biryani. It was amazing. Later on, I watched a mystery movie. Friend 2, but I have to admit, I got a bit confused right at the end. Friend 1, yeah, some mystery endings can be tricky. That's normal. Hey, are you feeling more confident with your English these days? Friend 2, yes, definitely. I mean, I'm really trying to feel more confident every day, using the words I learned.
What a great little exchange. So natural. And what really stands out to me there is how smoothly those specific words, productive, exhausted, delicious, spicy, confused, and confident, were woven in. It didn't feel forced at all, did it? It wasn't like someone was deliberately trying to show off their new vocabulary.
Hmm?
It really highlights how using words naturally, in context, even fairly simple ones, makes them feel like they're truly part of your active vocabulary.
Precisely. It flows. And look, to support you on this journey, to make this whole process easier and maybe even more fun, there are some truly invaluable tools and resources out there. These can really help make vocabulary learning much more engaging and ultimately incredibly effective.
Okay, fantastic. What should you listening right now be looking into to really bolster these strategies?
Well, first off, apps. They're right there on your phone, super convenient. You've got things like Duolingo, which offers that fun game-style learning, makes practice feel less like a chore. Then there's Quizlet, which is great for flashcards, especially ones with pictures, and as we discussed, those visual links are fantastic for memory. And Anki is specifically built around that powerful spaced repetition method we talked about. It really helps optimize your review schedule automatically.
So many great digital options. What about more traditional learning methods
Mhm.
or ways to just immerse yourself more in the language?
Oh, yeah. Definitely don't forget about books, especially simplified readers. Series like Oxford Bookworms or Penguin Readers are excellent. They provide engaging stories but use slightly simpler language so you encounter new words in a context you can actually understand. It builds confidence, and for pure immersion, listening is absolutely key. Try finding YouTube channels you enjoy in English, listen to English podcasts like this one, or try audiobooks. Hearing vocabulary used naturally with real intonation and rhythm and speed significantly helps with both your comprehension and your own pronunciation.
Yeah, hearing the words spoken makes such a difference for pronunciation and just the natural flow of sentences. Okay, and for those who really want to practice actively with other people, maybe get some immediate feedback.
For that, there are some great practice partner apps available now, things like HelloTalk or Tandem. These platforms connect you with native English speakers and other learners from all around the world. It gives you a fantastic opportunity to actually chat, use those new words you're learning in real conversations, and sometimes even get helpful corrections in real time.
This all sounds incredibly useful, really actionable stuff, but let's be honest, the real key, the secret ingredient for long-term progress in almost anything is consistency, right? So how do we really build these sustainable habits, habits that actually stick?
You're absolutely right. Consistency is everything. It really boils down to creating a few simple, manageable daily habits that then have this compounding effect over time. Aim to learn, just say, 3 to 5 new words each day. That's achievable. Write them down maybe in a dedicated notebook or just a note on your phone. The physical act of writing helps cement them. Then, crucially, make an effort to use them in speaking or writing that very same day. Put them into action immediately, and of course, review those words often, especially the ones you learned in the last few days. Keep them fresh. Finally, just try to watch or listen to something in English for maybe just 10 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be long. It really is about those small, consistent steps. They build momentum. Totally agree. Small steps add up fast. And hey, for those of you listening who really want to kickstart your progress, maybe see some faster results right away. This framework we've been discussing also suggests something called the 7-day vocabulary challenge. I personally love a good challenge. It kind of gamifies the learning process, makes it more exciting.
Exactly. This challenge is designed for that exact purpose, accelerated progress, building quick momentum. The idea is, for 7 days straight, each day, you focus on learning just 3 new words. Keep it manageable. You write them down in sentences that are meaningful to you. You say them out loud, practice the pronunciation, and then this is key. You make a conscious effort to actually use those 3 words sometime during the day. Maybe slip them into a conversation with a friend, use them in a quick email or text message, or even just write them in your journal. And importantly, each day you also quickly review the words from the previous days. The real trick is to keep it fun, keep it light. Don't let it become a burden, and just stay consistent for that 1 week. You'll be surprised. Fantastic. So, wow, we've covered a lot today. We've walked through those common pitfalls that so many learners stumble into. We've explored these smart, brain-friendly methods for actually learning and remembering words effectively. We've seen how to take that knowledge and apply it in real-life conversations, making it stick. And we've even built up a whole toolkit of useful resources for you. Just remember, everyone, building your vocabulary, it really is a journey. It's not a race to the finish line.
That's such a crucial takeaway. Every single word you learn, every small effort you make is a significant step forward, a real win. It's those small, consistent efforts day after day that truly lead to immense improvement over time. Seriously, don't underestimate the power of just one new word, learned, understood, and used well.
So we really encourage you, take these tips and tools we've shared today, put them into practice, maybe even take on that 7-day challenge to get started. And most importantly, try to enjoy the process of expanding your English, of finding new ways to express yourself.
Because, think about it, if every new word you learn is another brick in your language house, just imagine what grand structure you'll build next.